Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shaman Sister Sessions. I'm Michelle Hawk, and I'm here with my shaman sister, Catherine Bird. And today we are having a continuation of our last conversation about healing. This time we're talking about healing on the collective and planetary levels. So, extending that healing journey beyond the sphere of ourselves, our own fears, blockages, limitations, challenges, and path on that journey, and knowing that that which we do for ourselves ripples out so far beyond us. So, very excited to dive into this today. Kat, how are you doing?
I'm really good today, actually.
Great.
I was very tired when I woke up this morning, but I'm doing good now.
Awesome.
But I think
Okay.
that's just getting to come together and see you and do the podcast and is really fulfilling. And it's such an important part of honestly, like my path, my journey, my healing. Such a big part of it is in this collective and in the collaboration, you and I coming together and coming together with other people in combined healing and transformation, and having these conversations, as far as I'm concerned, is healing. So I'm happy to
Mm.
be here.
Awesome. Yay. And for all of you tuning in here as well, we know that at times this journey can feel very isolating, that particularly on the healing path, we can feel alone, we can feel vulnerable, and it can feel kind of frightening. And, so please know that when you're here, you're part of a larger community, a larger global community that Kat and I are delighted to anchor in and support you in. So, as a continuation from our conversation last time, we were talking about the individual healing journey. I think, it is fundamentally necessary to expand this out into the collective and planetary consciousness. Kat, as you mentioned, so much of our path personally and as practitioners here is looking to the level of systems and structures and society and also the earth herself, and knowing that our healing journey is impacting the people around us, impacting the structures and foundations of the society that we live in. And of course, looking at our Gaian relations, the plants and the animals, the environment. We're in this massive healing crisis on the environmental level right now on Earth.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that can feel overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, when we really tune into it, like, oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It can feel overwhelming, but I think within that, there's also the opportunity for us to realize that there are a lot of us that are aware of what is happening and are actively working through ourselves, through our practices, and with each other to bring benefit to the collective and bring benefit to the planet. And a lot of times we hear about the tipping point. The tipping point of consciousness, the tipping point of something happening where we can look at the monkey theory or the different things that we've seen with animals where, one animal learns something and then a group learns it from that, the group learns it. And then that same animal elsewhere on the planet with no contact, they now know how to do that thing because it's in their
Mm-hmm.
collective, it's in their collective consciousness. So, us evolving, growing, healing ourselves, coming together. We are part of that collective phenomenon, which we are now able to track. Scientists are like, oh, yeah, actually, there is a collective consciousness that we're all a part of. And we're receiving from it all of the time. And we're learning all of the time, not just from our personal experience, but from the collective. So, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's important for us to understand that this journey that can sometimes feel overwhelming or lonely or like, wow, what is going on in the world? And how could I have a beneficial effect and impact? We actually do, and we can, and we are
Mm.
right now.
I love that you brought that up. Yeah, because like you said, it can feel totally daunting and overwhelming of like, oh gosh, just one little me, how could I have an effect? And remembering, okay, if we are, um, I think it's also important to really recognize that we all have a sphere of influence. We all have a field of influence. And even if the field of influence that we have is very close and immediate to our personal connections, that is still a field of influence. If it's, working within our personal body, our personal well-being, and then the conversations we have at the grocery store, that is part of how we're interacting within that network, that collective consciousness. And then there are some people who have a much larger field of influence. They're in contact with a lot of people. They have a very public platform. They're working on the level of like public policy or international policy. There's that level too. But it's not that any one field of influence is more powerful or more effective or impactful than any other. They're just working on different levels. So for all of you thinking, gosh, how do I do this? How do I support this? Like, you matter. Your contribution matters. I promise. So please keep doing it and keep looking for ways that you can spread your healing and spread the benefit of your healing to the world around you. I'd love to tell a little story about, speaking of all of the busyness that we talked about in the last episode of everything, all the projects I've been up to lately. I recently have been in collaboration with the Kuntanawa tribe of the Brazilian Amazon. And I have now been coming into an official alliance, a formal alliance with the Kuntanawa tribe. I recently was supporting the chief of the Kuntanawa tribe, Haru Kuntanawa, and his wife, Dr. Haira Kuntanawa, in some of their travels through the US and some of their work. And then I actually hosted them at my house for about a week and hosted them in offering some of their work here. And speaking of like the public platform, it's really awesome. It's really, really incredible. The mission that they're doing and the level of influence and collective healing and collective contribution to the healing, that planetary healing that they're offering. I will say Haru Kuntanawa is the most well-spoken and charismatic indigenous leader I have ever met. He's very, he's very aware of all of these collective opportunities. He's a very liberal indigenous leader. He married a white American woman who's a naturopathic doctor, and together, like, the mission that they are working with is to save the Amazon rainforest. And as they say, what happens to the Amazon happens to all of us, because the Amazon rainforest is responsible for producing 20% of the Earth's oxygen and holds 60% of the Earth's fresh water, just in that one little area of the planet. Little, quote, relatively little, which is, you think about that, like, that's staggering. That's staggering that this one biome is responsible for a fifth of the planetary oxygen, and it holds over half of our fresh water. And if you look at what's happening in the Amazon rainforest right now, like, the whole thing's on fire. Like, we don't think of the rainforest as being on fire, but it is right now because of corporations coming in and wanting to mine the land and wanting to farm cattle and wanting, looking at the long history of colonization and, oppression and genocide in the Amazon. It is really a global ecological imperative right now to be preserving and supporting the reforestation efforts and conservation efforts in the Amazon, because if the Amazon burns, Earth is in a lot more trouble than she already is. And I say that not as a doom and gloom, but as a call to, Kat, what you were talking about, of our collective consciousness, our collective efforts, our waking up to the implications that our individual healing journey has on the larger collective field, and working with working not only for our own selves, but recognizing and really, like, taking the responsibility for the role that our personal journey has in the collective field. It's a very beautiful and a very humbling thing.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle. Really appreciate you bringing that up, and something that it is making me think about is the, how, in Michelle teaches alchemy, and this idea of the micro and the macrocosms, and how that, we are the micro of the larger, and that we're not separate. And what is going on in the Amazon is going on inside of us. That, many of us feel that, we have illness, we have pain, we have disconnection, we have trauma, we have the effects of uh, all of these thousands of years of patriarchy and genocide and imperialism and corporate greed and takeover. All of that is burning through our bodies at the same time. We are not immune to that. We live within this system and we are holding that within us, which I think is sometimes why we feel so intensely, and we struggle with, okay, well, how do I even be a part of this transformation within a system that has created so much destruction? And I can feel it inside me. It is something that I have inherited. It's something that I'm swimming within our society. It's something that I'm participating in. And so I think that when we start to see this larger perspective of what's going on globally and what's going on within the consciousness, and that it is within us, then we start to see that those changes that we make within us can have a larger impact. And and we start to see maybe our personal relationship with the larger whole, with the healing of ourselves and the healing of the planet, and our participation in that.
Mm. Yeah, that's really powerful, Kat. Thank you for sharing that. I think the other or another aspect of this is around, um, when we talk about our individual journey of healing, a lot of buzzwords that are kind of thrown around in this are about like personal sovereignty and responsibility. And, we all have radical autonomy and, visualize your health. And there's almost this like law of attraction shaming of like if you're going through a healing crisis, like something must be wrong with your consciousness, right? Which we're not saying at all. But there's the other aspect of looking, like you said, we are the microcosm of this macro consciousness, where we know, living in the world, yes, the Amazon rainforest is on fire. Yes, in the modern Western world, we have society and legal systems that are built on cultures of oppression and colonization. Yes, we have all of these really, really harmful systems in place. And so in some sense, there's this like the imperative to engage with the collective aspects of healing, because yes, we're looking internally, but it's almost like if we take on, like, I don't want to say don't take responsibility for your healing, because yes, please do take responsibility for your healing, but don't take on the personal responsibility for something that is a collective or systemic level disease. Because like Kat said, okay, yes, the Amazon is on fire and we're feeling all of those systems of oppression and challenge inside our own cells. And so there's almost this harmful aspect of the like personal healing, radical individualism that we have in the Western culture and in some of the neo-spiritual community, of understanding that our healing and liberation is inherently tied with the healing and liberation of all people and all beings everywhere. And so that we must, yes, work for ourselves. And we also, in order for ourselves to be fully healed and be fully whole, we must also work on the systemic level to vote according to planetary rights and civil rights. Vote, yay. I'm not sure when we're releasing this episode. The election might be early.
Well, as soon as possible.
Right, okay.
Okay. But
Right, but
no matter what's happening, I mean, if we are still allowed to continue to vote,
Mm-hmm.
If there's actually real voting after this election, which I
Right.
vision that definitely there will be, but continuing to vote in all the ways that we vote with our dollars and our
Yeah.
words and our actions in every way that we claim what we are standing for.
Yeah. And participating in the collective healing, participating in, okay, I Kat nor I live in the Brazilian Amazon, or we don't live in Brazil, but we know people who are there, and we can support the efforts, the reforestation efforts. We can support the people who have access to go plant trees in this ecologically vitally important part of Earth. If you know people who work in public policy, if you know people, or you yourself work in the legal system or work in social services, or have access to these systems of care, or can work with or connect with or support those who are working with these systems of care for people, for animals, for plants, for the planet, for vulnerable populations, for public policy, for all of this, like this is part of our own personal healing. Like, it is impossible, because, as we know, in the shamanic worldview is based in animistic consciousness. Animism is the phenomenon or the belief of the life force in all things, and that all things are connected through this unifying life force. This is the foundation of shamanism. This is the foundation of so many mystic traditions. And this is the foundation of the worldview that we're talking about, of if we are connected through this universal life force, then as long as some beings on earth are suffering, we are all suffering. And as long as there are systems of oppression and systems of enslavement and genocide and all of these pieces, like, we are all affected by that. So part of our healing journey is about claiming our place in this web of connection, not feeling overwhelmed by that, but instead feeling inspired and empowered,
Right.
and awakening our devotion in service to this, and then intelligently and skillfully using our resources of time, energy, attention, money, connection, social resources to share our own healing inspiration and commitment with those who need it, so that we can all benefit.
Yeah. And there's a couple of pieces that you've been saying that have kind of like poked out on this like individual, like we have a very, very Western mindset around the individual nature of our own personal healing, very independent, very me, right? I think it's something that you've said before.
Mhm.
And in there's a certain amount of privilege there, usually social financial privilege, that comes where you can afford to take all the supplements and go to all the doctors and go to retreats and like have all of these things, which a lot of people when they're in healing don't have, because you aren't able to work as much, or you're not earning at the level where you are feeling, and you are in that experience of feeling the systemic oppression inside of your own healing journey. And then it's like, wait, well, I have to also show up for all this other stuff too. And I think that there's this ability to see that wherever you are contributing, as long as that is within your intention and that is within your consciousness. And
Mhm.
so, as far as resources go, if you have the resources, you want to offer resources. And sometimes you're the person who's like, you know what, I need resources, I need some support from the collective. But at that same time, my prayer, my intention, my vision is that this is supporting the collective, and that through me, through my own personal transmutation, I am helping. And
Mhm.
that, I think, can help this experience that we sometimes have when we're going through our healing journey and we are not resourced, to not feel so alone and to not feel so disconnected from what's going on, and to be in that
Mm-hmm.
prayerful space. A very Buddhist way of being. When you do your practice, you devote your practice, you offer your practice, you you say that whatever benefit that I am receiving through this practice, whatever wisdom that I am gaining, is also for the benefit of all other beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that helps us when we're in that space of like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. There's too much. I'm under resourced. I'm undervalued in this system. And
Mm-hmm.
but even this progress that I am making in loving myself, I'm also offering that to the world, that others may know how to love themselves. If we could all love ourselves and not feel the need to extract from other people and from the earth in order to feel value and in order to feel like we have enough, then the world would be a
Mm-hmm.
different place.
Mm. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And yeah, that's not only a Buddhist principle, it's also a shamanic principle as well, Kat, like the giveaway. And so if you haven't heard that term before, like the term giveaway is it's a specific prayer, and I close every ceremony that I lead with a giveaway round where it's okay, we have been through this process of transmutation and healing for ourselves. Now bring to the forefront of your heart and your mind the names of people, or also just the awareness of people, animals, beings that you would like to share and devote this work to as well. And now share this, let's take a breath and share this healing light out with all of those beings who are asking for help. So yes, this that is a fundamentally important part of the work that we're doing. Kat, I think it's a really great point that you made about like sometimes we're more contributive and sometimes we need to receive more. And I think it's a way, one way I like to think about it for myself that helps me to not get so lost or overwhelmed about it is like we keep and in this metaphor we have three eyes, right? Because I like to say we keep one eye on the I am healing, I am healed. We keep one eye on the we are healing, we are healed. And we keep one eye on the all is healing, all is healed. And at any given moment, our attention, or the percentage of our attention on those three fields might be different. Like, if you're in a personal healing journey, most of your attention might be on the I am healing, I need help, I need resources. But also, like Kat was talking about, keeping our prayerful consciousness, we're keeping the prayers open and offering the giveaways for those in our lives or those in the world who might need healing, and recognizing the collective layer. There might be times when you're feeling really strong, you're feeling very capable and healthy. So more of your attention is on the mission. It's on all is healing, all is healed. We are healing, we are healed. I feel very strong and stable right now. So I'm devoting more of my healing consciousness and resources towards my service, toward my community, toward planetary efforts. But it doesn't mean that we're ignoring ourselves. We need to make sure that we are staying healthy, strong, and stable in that time. But maybe more of your attention is on the all is, some of your attention is on maintaining the I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
this is where group containers, ceremonial experiences, uh, healing circles, different kinds of circles where you're just coming together, and that can be online, it can be in person. These are so important. And so often on this journey, we do feel alone. And I've spoken to so many people recently. I have so many people who come who are finding their path and their way, their medicine, what they're meant to bring forward, and what they're receiving is, I need to
Mm-hmm.
be getting people together. I need to be having gatherings. I need to be hosting women's circles. I need to be doing new mood events, like whatever it is. But this is what they're receiving when they really deeply tune in.
Mm-hmm.
We need community, we need community care, and we need to come together to hold that field of what we're talking about, of the I am, we are, all is, together, that we're more potent and more powerful. And when we do these ceremonial works, or just coming together to uh, be in prayer, be in mindfulness together, be in meditation together, be in sound healing, whatever it is that we're being called, dancing, movement, all these things, we have that opportunity to host that collective vision and collective prayer together, which has a powerful impact and can really help us. So I'm encouraging everyone to find places where you can go, where you can be in this kind of prayer with other people, and if you don't have that in your community, you might be the person who needs to be the host of this. And I know that's super scary and really triggering. And oh my gosh, how can I? And what about, I don't know, I'm not qualified. And it's like, yes, you are qualified to have people come to your house and sit in a circle and make prayers. You are qualified to
Awesome.
to be in that field together and to have those discussions, because people are feeling this and nobody knows how to do it, right? We forgot in the western world, we've forgotten this very human thing of coming together in a circle, seeing each other, hearing each other, praying with each other, visioning a more beautiful, bright future for all of us in the planet, and calling that in and calling us that towards us, and being an offering together.
Beautiful. Kat, do you have any events like that or circles like that? I
um,
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
Michelle does. Michelle's doing a lot more in-person things right now. Right this minute, I'm doing less in-person things.
Mm-hmm.
And but I do have an online program, Heal Thyself, which is beginning in mid-November, which is going to be a small group cohort where we are coming together to support each other and to learn new practices, new healing techniques and tools and modalities, somatic, energetic, and spiritual tools, and to be on this healing path for I am, we are, all is, and to be in self-discovery and self-expression of healing. And then next year we have the Healers Process, which is going to be a bigger event, and that's where I'm going to be doing some in-person retreats and training in healing yourself and working through the Healer's Process materials and modality.
Awesome.
What about you,
Yay.
Michelle?
Well,
What are you doing right now?
um, I'm doing a lot of things, but Kat, you have such a beautiful space for hosting stuff. So I don't know, maybe you need to
I
have
do. I've been
more
meaning
stuff.
to do I've been wanting to do new moon, but then like I keep looking at the calendar and then I'm like, oh no, I have something. So
Yeah.
it's been on my radar to maybe start in, actually maybe next month and maybe in November, because it's been something I've been wanting to do.
Great.
But so far my calendar has been strange. So
I feel like new moon is a really intense time to do events. Maybe you need to do like a first quarter moon or
first quarter
something.
moon.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Nobody's doing that. Everyone's doing new moon and full
that's
moon. Do like
true.
a first quarter.
Nobody's doing a first quarter moon.
Yeah. The energy is like a little juice or like a little warmer at that point anyway.
That's
All
true.
of that to say, yes, I have things going on too. I have events at my house regularly in terms of like, coming together in community. I have the I Am Alchemy course, which is a year-long deep dive apprenticeship. It's a 200-hour certification training. And so this begins every March. I'm taking applications right now for next year's cohort. If you are called to the mysteries, if you want to enter the crucible of transformation for personal, collective, and planetary consciousness and healing, then come have a chat with me. You can find me through my website, michellehawk.com. I don't think Kat said her website. It's in the show notes, but katherinebird.com for her, michellehawk.com for me. So you can have a talk with me and see if alchemy is right for you. And then if you're in the Portland or surrounding area, I live just outside of Portland in the Columbia River Gorge, but I do have just kind of small circle events at my house pretty regularly. And those are in the form of ceremonials, song circles. There's sometimes other stuff going on. So if you get on my email list, then you'll get invitations when those are happening. And that is the kind of thing that you can just sort of, you register for, but you can just show up for. It's not tied to a longer term contract or anything, but that is a very fun way that we come together. We sing ceremonial songs, we learn songs together, we have a potluck, and that's a something that I enjoy doing as a community offering for gathering in person. So if you're in the area, please reach out, let me know, or get on my email list, and then you'll get the invitations. And then yeah, for the longer term stuff, we've got options for that too.
Great. Thanks, Michelle.
Yay! Thank you,
And
Kat.
so let's just be in example of this and be in. So everyone, if you're listening to this, please think of someone that you know who could use some of this medicine of healing and awareness of the collective, of our grid of consciousness, of support and healing and connection, and just feel as though you're in the room with them. Feel the way that your body feels when you're with them. And then put your hands up and just imagine that this beautiful light and love is moving through you and towards them. And as it reaches them, they are just filling up and experiencing greater love and light, and everything beneficial is coming towards them. And as they fill up, then the people that they know and love, now they're coming into view, and then they're reaching out, and that light and love is reaching towards them, and then more people that they know and love, and more people that they know and love, until it's people that are beyond and beyond and beyond, until it is all people, all beings, and then all of the beings of this planet, animals, plants, trees, minerals, the creepy crawlies, the birds, everything in between, all of the known and all of the unknown, and just reaching across this entire planet, this beautiful grid of love and light and higher consciousness and blessings. And just breathe that in and feel your connection to all that is, and your part in blessing and being blessed through this process. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And just let yourself have a little bow and acknowledgement of your part.
Beautiful. Thank you for leading us through that practice to close, Kat. That was really great.
All right.
I think
So
we should close all our episodes that way.
we're usually at the end like, oh my gosh, we've gone over by 20 minutes. Wrap it
Yeah,
up.
so we talk fast to close, but I think that's a really good way to do that. Okay, let's bookmark that. Okay.
Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We hope this was helpful to you. And yeah, please remember that what the healing that you are doing for yourself matters, and it matters far beyond you. So keep it up. Good work. We see you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.